on the first step in a plot to give Mr. Jagdeo his real pension. But ladies and gentlemen, you decide. After buying GPC, Ramroop then created a company called Queen's Atlantic 2. According to Dr. Luncheon's sworn statement in the Jagdeo Kissoon trial, as reported in the Kaito News of October 4, 2011, he said this: Nisil approached Jagdeo's best friend to acquire the Sonata complex. Dr. Luncheon also, under oath, said that he was not aware of any other tenders. So this was a sweetheart deal between the president and his best friend, Bobby Ramroop, which violated all of our laws regarding privatization, competitive bidding, etc. But the story gets complicated from this point. I cannot be exposed in all its glory in view of the time I am allocated to do this commentary. But after acquiring the Sonata complex in 2007, through at first a lease arrangement with the government, and then applying to buy it, all 18.8 acres of it, with all buildings etc. thereon, for an undisclosed amount, since even Dr. Luncheon, under oath, does not know how much was paid for it, but the government, guess who, granted tax holidays to Queen's Atlantic to conduct its affairs. Mr. Yesu Prasad brought this matter up at an open forum at which Jagdeo was present, and Jagdeo, in one of his now famous tirades, cursed out Mr. Prasad and told him that he does not know what he is talking about. But in the end, Mr. Yesu Prasad was right. So the government had to move to the parliament to change the law to allow these tax-free concessions to this one company. So whatever the business that this Q8, Queen Atlantic Q82, was involved in, it did not have to pay any corporate taxes for a period of time numbering 7 years. Then it surfaced, when I was in Parliament with the Public Accounts Committee, that the Auditor General had reported in the section dealing with the Ministry of Health that the government was buying all of their drugs from this new Guyana Pharmaceutical Corporation, and that the company, in violation of all of our laws of public tendering, was not subject to the process of competitive bidding to supply these drugs annually, amounting to several million US dollars a year. Mr. Murray and I questioned this anomaly, and it turned out that the Ministry of Health had a letter from Cabinet instructing them to buy everything for all of the government health facilities, including the Georgetown and New Amsterdam hospitals, from the new GPC. There is also credible evidence that GPC did not have to find the money to buy these drugs and other medical paraphernalia, such as injection needles, saline water, saline bags. In other words, everything which the clinics and hospitals require nationwide, even cotton swabs. Against all norms, GPC were apparently not required to supply them and then be paid when they actually supplied the items, as is normal in these transactions, but were given the money in advance of every purchase to acquire them. When asked about this, that is, why not buy it yourself if you are going to give all of the money up front to GPC, the lame excuse we got from the Minister of Health was that they did not have the space to store all of this material. So whatever price GPC wanted to sell these drugs, etc., at to the government was written on a blank check which they reportedly got in advance. But this was not enough skullduggery for Jagdeo. This company was then allowed to expand, and they formed 5 subsidiary companies between 2007 and 2008. The first company they formed was called Healthcare Life Sciences Inc., under what is described as an investment agreement. Part of the investment agreement was permission to import all items duty-free, and was signed on the 1st of August 2007. That is an Emancipation Day. It was a public holiday.